This is at Trustworthy Slav.
This is at Incognito, COH.
CRK, Black Dot Compilled.
This is the Fed Post.
You guys remember Mystery Men? You ever remember that movie?
I remember Mystery Men.
I saw that.
That's
Mystery
like
Men. Well, I can't say because it's been years since I've seen it, but I feel like Mystery Men would hold up. I don't know.
Oh yeah, but that also had Smash Mouth at the end. You know, it's really.
Did it really?
Yeah, I think so. I think it
That
did.
like 2-year period from like 99 to 01. You know, we were talking about Rat Race before we were rolling.
Mm-hmm.
That whole period where they were just putting Smash Mouth at the end of every movie, and it never gets old.
Yeah, I think it kind of died with Shrek. It was like such a big movie that incorporated it so heavily that I was just like, all right, we gotta kill this now. That was the end of 2001.
And then things went bad.
Somebody.
That was the golden era. No, yeah, Rad Race. Yeah, I remember that. Like, it was like one of those things, like ensemble cast, like, you know, sort of thing. It's just like,
Yeah, that's what makes it so great.
Yeah.
Like, you don't realize like everybody in that movie is a star.
yeah, Whoopi's in it, and Cuba Gooding.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Whoopi is in that movie.
Was Cuba fresh off Snow Dogs, or was that later?
I think that was later because I remember seeing Snow
Yeah, that was
Dog. I
the
remember
next
renting
year.
it at I'm
The
pretty sure
year
it was
after that.
there.
That was a good one. Holy shit! I'm gonna go back and rewatch that.
I mean, good is a word for it. It's something.
Nah, it's a good film, bruh.
Yes. Is the pod split right now on Snow Dogs?
Dude, this is the true divide on Fed Post. What Cuba pill have you taken?
I don't think I've
damn,
seen
man.
Snow Dogs.
I think the next movie we should do for a Fed Post film app is Gifted Hands.
I haven't seen that one.
The Ben Carson biopic starring
Oh,
Cuba
No
Gooding
fucking
Jr.
way.
It's
No
a real thing. Look it up,
fucking way.
you motherfucker.
that's insane.
It's about
Yeah,
Ben
dude.
Carson, bro.
It actually, well, the crazy thing is the script was actually originally meant to be a spin-off of Snow White with the sleepy dwarf character, but then they just rewrote it to be Ben Carson.
Bro, it's produced by Johnson and Johnson, dude. It's
That
on
is so
TNT,
wild.
or it was on TNT.
Dude, like years ago, it'll have like messaging about the COVID vaccine, like years ago.
Predictive programming, dude.
Easter eggs.
Yeah.
I was actually talking about Ben Carson the other day with somebody, and I had totally forgotten. You remember that entire thing he did where he was like, I was a young man and I tried to stab somebody and it like
Yes.
hit their belt
Bounce
buckle.
off
No,
the
I don't
belt
remember
buckle,
this.
Yes.
Or no,
How could I
sorry.
forget?
It was more like, it's like, I tried to stab someone and thank God
Holy shit.
I stabbed their belt buckle. And
That's
like,
a hood
it's,
classic.
Yo, is
Yeah,
Ben
I'm sure
Carson
Trump
corn
was like,
pop?
No.
I just googled Ben Carson stabbing, and the first result is a Washington Post article titled in 2015, "Why Ben Carson's claim that he stabbed someone is so key to his appeal to white America."
Whoa.
Like, what a fucking headline, dude.
God
Holy
damn.
shit.
That's a
Oh,
banger.
oh yeah.
I remember
Well,
Trump made fun of him for it. Made fun of Carson. It was like, it bounced off the belt buckle. Who believes this shit?
It's like if I was trying to stab someone, I wouldn't hit a belt.
Aim for the head,
dude,
dog.
I mean, it's a hilarious, like, I just love that, man.
How come
Like,
he's aiming so low? Is he trying to give him the old 1-2?
He's
Yeah.
trying to. He's
Trying
well.
to
That
fake
was
him
also. He's also trying to appeal to the main Republican base. So he was trying to say he was going to circumcise the person.
That's it.
Yeah.
But it didn't really go over all that well.
I always mix up Ben Carson with Herman Cain because I'm racist. And I was just thinking for a second, I'm like, wait, did Ben Carson die? They were both the token black
Bro.
guy at the Republican debate.
They really
I had
It was
were.
Herman Cain that died, right?
I had the exact same mix up the other night. Yeah.
No, I mean I
RIP.
think that's fair because like they were presented as like the token black guy.
Yeah.
Like you can't be racist mixing them up when it was already racist of like the RNC to like do that. I think so. I think we're in the clear.
I liked Herman Cain more. He had more of a folksy appeal in the 999 plan.
Well, he was a pizza guy, and he also when he shuttered his presidential campaign, famously he quoted lyrics from the Pokemon movie song.
Yes, legendary. Fucking legendary.
Which, like, in a vacuum is like, inspiring sentiment.
Absolutely.
I don't know the original author was the line he said.
That reminds me of those Trump videos
from the Pokemon movie. Fucking base, dude. No, but this is the thing though, dude. That is like, as a black candidate, that's knowing your demographic right there. Like, the only way he could have done it better is if he's like, well, from the Saiyan saga of Dragon Ball Z, to quote the great Raditz.
Holy shit. Ben Carson, like, calling upon the heart of the cards, dude. You guys remember when Donald Trump was doing videos with like Linkin Park, but it was like a slow piano version of Linkin Park?
No,
it was like
what?
It was In the End, but like a slow piano thing, and it was. I remember seeing one of these campaign videos, and it was just Trump, like, I think he was like backlit on a stage or something in slow motion, and it's just like a girl singing In the End, It Doesn't Even Matter.
Holy shit.
The most emo shit ever.
Black pill, bro.
Maybe my mind is making maybe I just dreamed that.
No, I think that's real, because I just Googled it and I'm seeing Linkin Park sends cease and desist to Donald Trump.
No.
Yeah.
Let my boy jam.
Holy shit.
I promised I wasn't going to talk about politics, but I know you all have seen it, but because this is a movie episode. But before we do that, the Bloomberg article, spend your paycheck right away so you don't have to deal with inflation.
Wait, what?
Oh my god.
Well, so this is the fun. This is the fun Neo Fed Post dynamic. I'm totally out of the circle. So I'm playing straight man here. I haven't seen this. What is this?
Okay.
Bloomberg, they're saying basically like, the best way to deal with inflation is to just spend your paycheck right away, because
I
it's
haven't
be worth
read it.
less tomorrow.
All right. That's all I needed to hear. I had a cart full of Funko Pops. I'm pulling the trigger, boys. Don't tell my girlfriend, please.
No, but I've done a lot of thinking about this. Like, it's like, let's get into some game theory. All right.
Okay.
So it is more economic. It makes more economic sense to take on debt than to hold money. Like, because if your dollar is worth, like, I think you guys were talking about you can go into debt to buy pizza, right? Like, if your dollar is worth less in a week than it is today, put that pizza on credit, because it's going to be, because like, just mathematically, it's going to be easier for you to pay it back in a week when the dollar is devalued. Like, just fucking put all your shit on credit cards and then just pay it back later. If you can get 0% APR, just fucking wait, because once the dollar is like worth 50%, like, it's half price. It's half off, dude.
Yeah, that makes sense in theory. But, I mean, if you don't have the money, I mean, like, the problem with all this usury stuff is, like, people who take on the loan and they don't have the money because they're just like, I want to flex on my friends. Yo, I got this Papa John's.
Flexing with Papa John's?
Family box, bro.
I thought you were going to say like, hey man, look, I got this nice Lexus that I can't afford. Like, dude, check this out. I got this chicken bacon ranch on fucking credit, dude.
Meat lovers, dog.
I got this meat lovers, and your boy had fucking mushrooms and olives, dude.
Oh, what? But if you get it and you can't afford it, you can't afford to pay it back. I think that's where the problem lies, is people just taking it because they want to live above their means, which, a lot of people do. I think that's where it gets dicey. But,
well, of course.
Well, I don't know if you were joking right then, Doomer, or if you were serious.
It's partially joking. Like, if you were in the position where you could, like, right now, the house market is going down. It's starting to go down because it's cooling off a little bit, but like, interest rates are still low. As soon as the Fed raises interest rates, the entire economy is going to take a massive dump. But like, if you were in the market for like buying property or a house or something, like, yeah, do it like right now. Like, if you take $100,000 in debt out right now, but you have to pay it back over the course of like 20 years, like, that $100,000 is going to have like maybe 2/3 of the buying power in 10 years than it does right now. So that means, like, yeah, your wage is probably not going to keep up with inflation. It never fucking does. It never works out like that. But like, if you pay it out as the dollar is slowly devaluing, like just kind of market forces kind of are going to dictate that, yeah, it's a better deal.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
not saying put pizza on layaway.
I'm saying to our audience right now, I am a financial advisor. Just entirely the coin of the future is straight up pizza. It's circular. It has self-apparent value. Just put it all on the line for pizza.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an economics. I mean, I'm not like a financial guy. Like I'm not gonna pretend like I fully understand it, but I do remember in the 20s people putting a lot of shit on credit, and then we all know what happened right after that. So that's how I feel. It's like bubbles, you're like creating bubbles, and
leading up to 07, 08 too, it's like a 10, 20 year cycle. It just keeps happening. Yeah. But they do it a little differently every time. They just like, let me copy your homework, but change it a little bit.
Totally.
And this is the other thing I was going to ask you about too before we talk about the movies, the car market thing. Because we were talking about that last episode with Jugs for a little bit. Because I know you're into cars and shit. And you're always
I just finished building a truck.
Car market. You built a truck?
So I got a truck that was basically a shell. Like bodywork was really good. I got it from these bodywork guys who did a good job in bodywork, but they couldn't build an engine for shit. So I swapped an entire new engine into it in my driveway, and it's insanely reliable now. Like it's bulletproof.
Damn, nice. No, because I'm trying to get my family's like cars fucked up, and I'm trying to like get a new one, and I'm like looking at the market, and it's fucking insane.
It really is, yeah.
Used car, yeah. But
one thing I'd say is never finance a used car. If you're gonna buy a used car, always go cash. If you're gonna buy a new car, finance it, whatever. Like honestly, it's not really like if I saw a fucking Toyota Tacoma from like 2002 with like 70,000 miles sell for $27,000.
Yeah, dude.
Bro.
You know what a base model brand new Tacoma costs?
22 maybe.
42.
42? Wow.
So like, okay, if you're paying almost 30 grand when you could pay like 12 or 13 more or like 15 more and get it with, and like they offer insane financing shit because like, take on debt, like be in debt to banks. Like that's the MO. Like why the fuck? What the fuck is going on with these used car prices?
I've seen some that the used ones were more than the new model. I've seen a couple of those when I was looking. I couldn't believe it. I was like,
it was like packages, like if you get the pro package or some shit.
I don't know. I don't even know I don't know what it was. It was just like the rates are so inflated.
Aren't old cars that are less computerized going for a lot more now because of the chip shortage?
Like I would always recommend getting an old car before ideally before like 92. But like get one before 2010. Like if you got to get something like newer and you're not as mechanically inclined, don't because like by 2025 they're going to have remote shut off in all cars. Like the government is going to say no, we don't like what you're doing or saying. You can't drive anywhere. Like they're going to debank you, they're going to decar you, they're going to de-everything you, and they can do it. And you're going to let when you're the government, they let you do it.
Oh yeah. That's why they're pushing towards that self-driving car bullshit that no one wants or needs.
I really don't. Doomer, what are your thoughts on the self-driving car thing? Because it just seems
it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. There's never because Elon Musk. Somebody, what are you guys in? Any of you guys in the car DM?
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
Okay. Hit me up if you want to be in the car DM. It's mostly like just people. We focus group each other's car repairs.
Nice.
But we were talking about this. Self-driving is probably not going to happen, at least in our lifetimes, because a computer is like a top-down thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's looking at everything just in any moment, like as it is. It's not predicting anything. It's so the only way that you can have true like self-driving is if you have like some sort of insanely powerful neural network that is definitely not like like what we have right now in cars, like Teslas or whatever, not anywhere close to what you need to actually self-drive, especially because Elon Musk doesn't want to do LiDAR. He's like, we're going to do camera only. It's going to work like shit at night. It's going to fucking run
LiDAR?
over pedestrians.
What's LiDAR?
I think it's some DAR. It's like radar or some DAR, sonar. I don't fucking know, dude.
Okay.
But I think it's like...
it's just like a laser or something, and it does kind of like sonar type stuff.
Yeah. But like if if you use LiDAR, you could do self-driving. But Elon Musk for some reason does want to.
Because like Musk, like a lot of his stuff, like it's these cool ideas that maybe don't need to manifest or go to scale or whatever, but you get the money, you get investment money off of the idea alone. So he's just an ideas guy. He's just jumping on somebody else's idea So I always wonder, like, I don't know if it's one of those things where it's just like a quick, you
want the
money
biggest black
scheme.
pill? Want the biggest black pill ever on
What?
self-driving cars?
What?
Let's go.
We will see quote unquote self-driving cars in our lifetime, but they will be driven remotely by some guy in a Malaysian server farm who
Holy
makes
shit.
5 cents an hour in like Pakistan or something,
Whoa.
because Elon Musk figured out how to outsource it, and they're gonna all these guys, they want to do wireless broadband internet throughout the entire United States. Why do they want to do it? So that they can broadcast a driving signal to your car. And that's where my movie idea comes in. All right, let me pitch this shit to you.
Oh, let's go.
All right?
Let's go.
It's
Give
like
me the elevator pitch.
It's like a death race, like cross between Gamer. You guys remember that film Gamer?
Oh, I remember Gamer.
So it's the
With
future
Gerard Butler and the guy from Dexter.
So
Michael C. Hall, sorry.
So it's like all these guys are like, it's like the proles. They like get out of their pod, they go to work at the server farm, and they're driving rich people around, and then they realize that they can kill these rich people by crashing their cars because they're like paid to drive remotely. But it's like really dangerous because like you could be on trial or something, and then I don't know. Then it devolves into like a Total Recall type situation or something.
Okay.
And there's a chick with 3 boobs. I don't know. I'm just an ideas guy.
I'm down to invest.
Yeah, shit, I'd watch that. Whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. I think like a death race meets Gamer. That's hell. That's a pretty good one right there, dude.
Yeah.
If you want to get a little official branding in there, dude, just slap on Twisted Metal.
Oh yes.
Nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that. Sweet Tooth is kind of like the Joker. Yeah, I'm with you.
I could see that remote driving thing though. Dude, they don't even have to outsource it. They could just sell it like a video game to these Malaysians and be like, yeah, you just kind of strap into this chair. It's like an arcade game, but every time it just pulls up a live feed and they don't even know it. It's like Ender's Game, but just for driving rich people around.
I want it to be domestic. I want to give it to the neats. Give it to the neats here.
Yeah. Bring the jobs home.
Holy shit.
I like that Ender's Game reference there. I like the idea of these kids think they're just playing some simulation, and then they're like, "Oh shit! All those kill streaks I was going on were happening in Chicago. Oh my god! Holy shit!
Goddamn." Yeah, no, that's what it's going to be though. I put money on it. Like every time there's like, there's some sort of autonomous shit, like drones. I mean, it's still just some guy in a server room. It's like not like the drone thinks, I'm going to bomb this hospital.
Yeah, I'm more AI pilled than I think most of the people we have on here. So I mean, I think the incentive is there at least. Like, why? You're paying like this gig wage. You're like fracturing the jobs. The next logical step would just be like, I don't have to deal with anybody at all. I don't have to worry about paying any human at all. But I mean, as far as whether it would pop off here, I don't know. I mean, they had that setback when that self-driving Uber killed someone, hit somebody or whatever.
I saw this recent video of Tesla trying to do a self-driving test, and it locked the driver out, so they couldn't even actually like make any like corrections or step in case of emergency, and it almost like nailed a pedestrian just flying around school buses with the stop signs out.
Became Skynet in a millisecond. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think they might have use for it, but maybe it's just Musk just like it's like his boring idea, his boring company and whatever. It's just something to throw out there just to like get people excited.
Yeah, all that shit's retarded, dude. He's like if David Lynch was not doing movies, if he just had like the way that he has just these crazy visual ideas that don't even really tie into a plot. They have no reason, but he's like, I'm just trying to make it happen. Give me a lot of money for it. And people are like, fucking sure, dude. Elon Musk is like that, but here.
Elon Musk is just a dude who actually just does a lot of transcendental meditation. That's it.
I mean, he met Grimes on the astral plane.
To be fair, Elon Musk could probably do a better Dune adaptation than David.
I'd like
Lynch
to see
would.
Elon Musk's Dune adaptation. What is his artistic sense? What are his artistic sensibilities like?
Probably nothing good. Have you seen his haircut recently?
Being fucking cringe as fuck is what it is.
Yeah, his haircut is like a dollop of like hair colored whipped cream on top of his bald head.
It's like he put hair mousse on it, but didn't even like have any hair. He just put like the squirt on there.
Yeah,
motherfucker looks like he's making videos about women in video video games.
Yeah.
Yo,
He's
but
the base billionaire.
Speaking of Dune, when I was watching Jingle All the Way, that opening scene where they're like on that like Mars planet and it's Turbo Man versus Dementor, I was like, yo, this is basically Dune.
Yeah, then the little Power Rangers guys come out.
Dude, I gotta say, man, I did not anticipate that prologue in Jingle All the Way that took place on Arrakis. That's fucking wild, dude. They're like harvesting Arnold's sweat.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
You see the worm, dude?
No, I'm a big proponent of Jingle All the Way as like a Christmas movie because it perfectly encapsulates that like 90s grandeur. It's like we got Arnold playing a frustrated dad, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not, I mean, he's at his prime, but it's like, why would he like it's like what is the other one, Kindergarten Cop, where he's also frustrated? What was the whole thing about? Why were they casting him like that? It makes no
I was
sense.
talking about this with my girlfriend. I feel like he was trying to break out a typecast. He's like, all right, I'm just the guy that says I'll be back in every film, you know, with my shirt off. Let me get something really dynamic. I'll be the kindergarten cop or whatever. Like, I feel like it was something like that, you know?
Is he going for like the Family Man circuit?
Well, I think what you do, okay, so because what it is, right, is that Arnold Schwarzenegger is a horrible actor, right? Sure. And so that's why his best movie that he's in, or his best role, is Terminator, because he doesn't need to fucking talk.
Yeah.
Right.
And to the extent that he does talk, his like broken English and horrible delivery is a strength, right?
Dude, they never address the fact that he has a German accent. They're never like,
no. But like, and so what you do with these people that like can't really like act very well is you just like that would otherwise be like good action stars. Is you just have them in kind of like funny goofball action comedies, right? Mm-hmm. And almost I think this was also before like Rush Hour just like destroyed action movies by making them all action comedies. Like there's no pure action movies. That's why like Dread is so fucking cool and movies like that. But yeah, man, like and so that's what you do, right? Like you just take this guy who's like Arnold's a mess as far as an actor goes, and you just put him into this fun kind of humanizing role, and then there's a lot less scrutiny on his acting chops and all that. I think it's perfect. Because this movie, I think, pushes how much you can actually get out of him acting wise, while not having it be like a total fucking mess. I think Total Recall is another example because it's so fucking campy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, my girlfriend just like kept watching this. She's never seen, like, when I was a kid, I saw Jingle All the Way. Like it was on the TV like all the time.
Yeah.
So I've seen it mad time, like different scenes, like hopping into different points. Yeah, and like I mean, I was a kid, so I just liked it, but I don't remember how insane it was. Now I'm rewatching, like this shit is crazy. It's so much happening, and my girl was just like, how come no one addresses that he's got a fucking heavy German ass accent and he's supposed to be like a regular American dad around or whatever.
So a couple tidbits. The mom is played by Rita Wilson, the wife of Tom Hanks. So a little known fact about this movie, the child actor who played the son actually grew up to be Chet Hanks.
That was before he became a Sith Lord, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, before he became an island boy.
He's a Hotep Dark Jedi.
That's right. And then I mean, just the idea that Phil Hartman as the like divorced dad neighbor who's trying somehow
to cuck everybody
cuck Arnold Schwarzenegger. What?
Well, I mean, he didn't really. Obviously, it's that was just kind of an attempt to really.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, he gets his true comeuppance. Dude, rip Phil Hartman. By the way, like I know it's brought up every time, but like, god damn, dude, every time I see him in anything or like old, Simpsons episodes, like, guy's just so fucking good, dude. And like, oh man, it's just a good antagonist in this movie. Just a good, and like, they strike that perfect balance of a family friendly movie, right? Where it's like, there's not really serious stakes. He's not trying to kill anybody or anything.
He does play a really good bad guy in this movie, like specifically because they're giving him all of the like 1990s stereotypical like HR lib speak. Like they even give him the cadence of it. like Office Space style, like the most insufferable guy at your job that you know.
I just watched Office Space recently because I was showing it to my girl, and like, that he's got that voice. Oh, I'm gonna need you to come in. He's got that like extended like drawl or whatever, and like, he's like trying to fuck his wife. That shit is crazy, man. And it's like a theme going on because like I watch Die Hard too because it's supposed to be like the Christmas movie or whatever, and like that's a theme in a lot of these movies. Like this time period is like the dad, he's absent, he's not there, and like there's angst going on with the wife. The wife is frustrated, might be fucking some other douchebag. That's like in so many of the movies. It's kind of funny.
She's straying. Yeah. It's the perfect conceit for a Christmas movie. The distant.
So
dad.
here's a good reason for that. The divorce rate in the United States actually peaked in the 80s. So that's why it was top of mind so much in these 90s movies, and it's been falling basically ever since. Believe it or not, it's like it's as low now as it was in 1970.
Really?
I was curious about this, so I looked it up. But yeah, the reason for all the 90s movies having like divorce as a theme or like spousal like disagreements is like that was top of mind. Everybody was talking about how like, oh, we're the country of divorce and shit like that. I remember growing up hearing that shit all the time.
Yeah, that I figured because like the 60s and all that, like all that stuff going on, like it made sense that like in the next couple of decades, I remember like studying that in school, like, oh, divorce just spiked after that into the 80s or whatever. But like it's been going down since, really? I didn't know that.
Going down slowly, but especially it divorce, like I'm looking at this chart in 2010, it started dropping off even more.
Because the last number I heard was 51%, which must have been like in the aughts. I heard that 51% divorce rate.
Shit. I wonder how much of a part of it is also just less people getting married.
I think that's
that is probably true.
I think that, yeah.
I think this chart I'm looking at is adjusted per capita, so it might still be falling, even accounting for that. But
it's an interesting tidbit.
And they tie in that like dissolution with like the corporate office job and like that kind of striverism too. Like you find that when he's like on the phone, like, you're my number one customer, and how it's like pulling him away from his family and stuff. That was kind of like the end of the bubble for that type of job, I feel like too. Like that's when things kind of started hitting the fan. Like that type of lifestyle doesn't really even exist anymore. What you would see in like Office Space or in that.
The number one sales guy just by being a straight white man.
Yeah, man.
No, I mean,
dude, the good old days.
Yeah, those were the days, bro.
Let me offer an alternative take on like the class character or whatever of his job or whatever. Okay, this kid, his son, is a little shit. Okay, he's busting his ass. Arnold is busting his ass all day at the fucking mattress factory so the family can survive on a single income. Not just survive. They have a fucking nice ass house in the suburbs.
Yeah, they're doing great.
They're doing Christmas. The mom stays home all day making fucking cookies and like maybe vacuuming for an hour. And Arnold is pulling all the fucking weight, and this kid is a little shit. He's like, get me a fucking doll. No, why don't you get a fucking job, you little shit?
Start shoveling coal, you little
that's right.
Hone in on your force skills or something, dude.
That's right.
Well, it's also why working class hero Sinbad had to get the action figure in the end. Come on,
so good.
Come on.
Yes.
Yo, his opening monologue is so based, bro.
He drops insane amounts of knowledge.
I was like, wait, what? He's like, yo, these toy companies are trying to pit the working class against each other. They're sending subliminal messages to the kids. I was like, yo, what? He's like,
it's like,
trying
dude,
to stick the
CRK is in Jingle All the Way. Wild.
Holy shit.
No, but yeah, they really gave like they don't have shit like that in movies anymore, where it's like it's a kids movie, but like this guy's talking about how the TV is subliminally like indoctrinating kids into commercialism or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing, man. It's like the lines. I think the biggest one, because it's all about the the whole thing of you write in a little something for the parents, right? They're taking these little shits to the theater.
Yeah.
You write something in for the people, buying the tickets, right? And it's like it's always coy. And the big one that stuck out to me is like the housewife talking to Phil Hartman. That's like, oh, I can't get the light working on my porch. And he's like, oh, I got the right tool for that.
Yeah.
Right?
I love
Wink,
that, yeah.
wink, wink. I'm gonna fucking
Pipe you down.
exactly, right? And they don't, obviously this is something we've talked about a lot, but like, I mean, now it's just like they don't do that anymore. I feel like, I mean, I don't watch a lot of like children's movies that are coming out anymore, but like it's all about it's all just about like maintaining the adults' personas, like, adult children now. And so, they don't do any like innuendo. It's just all the fan service shit, which sucks. And there's not any like, there's not any subtlety that goes into that, right? Of being like, how do you write in a blowjob joke in a movie for 10-year-olds, right? It takes a light touch to do something like that.
Yes,
Are there even movies like this anymore? I mean, it's like it's passé to just say like, oh, they don't make movies like this anymore. But like, if this happened today, like Turbo Man would be a member of the fucking Marvel Extended Universe or some shit.
Oh yeah,
right off the bat.
Yeah, he'd be.
I mean, I think
some existing IP.
The only movie I can really think of that was like a family friendly movie that was meaningfully good the last few years was Paddington 2. That's the only thing I can really.
Okay.
Paddington was good, but again, I'm not really seeing a lot of these movies, so I can't say for sure.
No, I can't think of. Out. Yeah, I mean, like it's like that thing they say of like, oh, like Ren and Stimpy or like our old like '90s cartoons, like. They sneak in jokes that are for the adults in the room that only adults. It's like dog whistles for adults. Like only they could pick up like the sexual innuendo or whatever. Like, yeah, right. I mean, that's I feel I don't know what the kids are watching now, but like I'm sure that's lost. But the other thing too of like things that you can't joke about now. Like I remember Sinbad's in there and he's like randomly accusing Arnold of racism.
Yeah.
And he says when he gets knocked over like on the ground when they're scrambling for the fucking toys, he says it's like Rodney King all over again. I'm like, yo, that shit totally was mad funny.
Yeah, he's just like making nonstop like offhanded remarks about Rodney King and Jesse Jackson, bro.
Jesse Jackson.
Yeah. Okay, all right. I might be wrong here, but I will say just to back it up. I rewound the movie and listened back when they throw the dog's name is Booster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I remember that because Booster Gold in DC Comics. They throw Booster off the float and the kids all jump on him, right? And they're like, "Oh, we hate you." I'm like 80% sure the kids call him a fag. I'm pretty fucking sure.
What?
And I can stand by. Hey, hear me out. Okay, if you go back and you rewatch like Bill and Ted, right? They call each other fags like 10 times throughout the movie, and that's still PG, right? So Go back, rewatch it. I'm pretty. It's a blink and you miss it.
No, that was you saying it while you were watching.
You said, "Yeah, we hate this fucking guy."
I'm pretty sure that they say "fag" in Jingle all the way.
Holy shit!
That'd be amazing if they did.
There's one of the rewind moments for me was if you read there's a lady in the parade at the end of the movie and she's wearing a kufi.
Yes, dude.
Yeah, I had to rewind. I was like, "Is that what? Is that somebody like somebody's Twitter Abby or something?"
Fed post, nice.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you squint, you can actually see Nixon wearing a kufi in the background in one of the scenes. It's a little Easter egg.
No, yeah, that shit you really can't do now. Like that, it's funny because it's not even that crazy of a joke, really. Like
the big one to me, I think, because of course you need to touch upon the like. What wouldn't have aged well stuff whenever watching an old movie. I think it's the fact that fucking Big Show from WWE punches a midget 40 feet across
I was just about to bring they have like but they actually have a little person actor playing, like it's a diversity hire, but
just a little guy.
Yeah.
There were a lot of midgets in that film, bro.
Yeah.
Well, I also love how Mall Santa and his little fucking good fella midget are like the mob, right?
Yeah.
Like it's very like Hoffa. Yeah. I liked that.
They have a fucking compound, dude.
They have a compound. Dude, that reminded me of the compound shootout in RoboCop.
Yes.
With the guy drinking the wine, and it's just this warehouse full of. I kind of liked it. It was like this criminal underworld on par with Star Wars, but it's just Santa Claus. I thought that was funny as fuck.
Yeah, that's
probably the most corny scene in the movie. But I thought it was fun.
It's a precursor for Bad Santa.
A precursor for Bad. And I'd be curious to see how Bad Santa holds up.
I'm going to watch it soon. It's on my list of Christmas films to knock out before the season's over.
Sure.
I actually haven't seen that, but
it's pretty good. My family like loved Bad Santa. I was never the one that was super big into it in my family, but it's worth a revisit.
I never saw that one. I probably have to go. That's like every Jackass movie after the first one I've actually never seen, so I got to sit down and watch like that.
Jackass 2 is good. Jackass 2, I think, is the one that has the terrorist prank, which is great. I won't spoil it. It's pretty good.
Oh yeah, Sinbad calls in a fucking bomb threat.
Yeah,
and he calls in a bomb threat in this fucking movie, dude.
Twice,
like, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he took the Ted K thing. He was like, "Yo, I got this is a bomb right here," and then a bomb actually goes off, and the police officer is just like, frazzled. That's the most that happens.
Like Daffy Duck is bills on backwards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of amazing.
And then the scene that like I love is they're in the diner. They've like given up all hope, right? Sinbad, like Arnold sits down at the diner, and then for some reason Sinbad's in a booth. He comes over and he pulls out a bottle of hooch and he's like pouring it in the coffee. Arnold's like, why not? I'll have I'll have a drink. And he starts telling him the story about how his dad didn't get him a toy when he was a kid, but his neighbor got a toy. And the neighbor kid grew up to be a billionaire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then he envisions his own kid drinking the hooch. And just like, yo, I don't want my kid to end up one of these melanated fellows without their father.
I gotta get him this toy.
It's funny
because it's a classic villain origin, dude.
It casts like the postal worker as being like the least desirable, like a bad caste in society. But like now, I feel like people would kill to be a postal worker. Like some of them are raking in 6K, or not 6K, 6 figures.
So there was a time when I was jobless and I was like, I'll try applying for the post office. And I got the job and I went to like a training. And then after that training, I was like, it's really easy and there's insane benefits. But it's like, do I really want to do this? Like,
bro, there's a reason to call it going postal. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's the most mundane. So, and I got lucky and I got a job that like, I got to like actually work with my hands and shit like that. But like the working at the post office, they make it really nice, but it literally, it's like daycare for your brain. It's like you're not.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Jobs are though, like at that level. I mean, dude, I'd rather do some postal office shit than or walk around delivering mail in the city than like drive.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just like, if you have a brain where like you want to be doing something creative. Oh yeah, you would probably kill a bunch of people if you ended up working at the post office.
It's not a cerebral gig. It's repetitive. You check out. I'm definitely with COH. I think that's straight up like,
that's a preferred type of job for me if it's not like a job I'm passionate about, because I can just zone out and act like I'm not there.
I've had enough like prep shifts jobs at like restaurants where it's like pop in an earbud, just like put on an audiobook or something. That, but no, for sure. Like it's also just like, I think there's definitely been times in my life where that wasn't what I needed. You know what I mean? And like something that stimulates you mentally is really, dude, it keeps you sharp. You know what I mean? It kind of reminds me a little bit of like these old timers. I mean, it's a cliche, but you always hear about these old timers that, dude, old Bill retired last year and within 6 months he died, keeping a job that keeps you sharp and everything. It's good. It's good for anybody to a certain extent. Yeah.
Oh, even dementia, even just to stave off dementia and all that, keep the mind, like it's like a muscle or whatever. I mean, it's cool because you get to go outside at least. And like, maybe if you want to like know the community you're around, where everybody is, you might talk to people or whatever.
You cuck people.
So it's actually a good thing that they keep them working until they're like 87 as a Walmart greeter. Keeps the mind sharp. They come up with new ways to creep you out as you walk in the store.
Holy shit.
Well, that is one of those funny. That is one of those funny things, right? Because it's one of these little things that like capitalists say to just justify just horrible, psychotic, dystopian shit. At the same time, though, there are those weird, crazy old folks that are like, yeah, like working in their 80s because it's like, dude, if I didn't do this, like I would be driving myself insane, you know,
I believe that.
at home.
I completely
like
believe that.
Sure,
you know, my old man hated working, right? And so he fucking retired and he just fishes nonstop. He's fine with it, right? It works for him great.
Absolute
My mom is psychotic and like not working is maybe the worst thing that could have ever happened.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's you know, it's people of a different cloth, I guess.
Yeah, I worked with this super old dude. He was like 82 and he just retired. And he had been like planning retiring for like 6 months or something. But the last day that he worked before he retired, he was like getting real emotional and sad. And he was like, yeah, like this is all I've ever done with my life. I don't even know what to do now that I'm going to be retired. Like, I just don't know who I am now.
Yeah, people want purpose too. That's the other. They want to feel useful. I think that's why a lot of old people get kind of batty and like cranky and shit. Like they want to feel useful. And I mean, I don't believe that you should have to. I don't believe that you have to work, otherwise you're going to starve or whatever. Like I don't feel like old people should be in that situation. But if if assuming all your base things are covered, you should have the option to be like, hey, I want to stay like creative or productive or something, just keep the mind active, so I don't feel like I'm fucking rotting away. That makes sense to me.
It's all about hobbies, dude. It's like if you work some mundane ass job your whole life, you're like, oh, I'm finally gonna retire. And then you get retired and you're like, what the fuck am I going to do with my life? Yeah, you're probably going to die because your mind's like, you're seething at like the world for making you work all those years, taking all your energy, whatever. Like if you have all these hobbies, like get your hobbies young, get good at them. And then when you're old, you have all your time to like do those things that you didn't have time for while you're working. Like it sucks that you have to work all that time, but like that's like my folks retire, like they were like in the like 07, 08 like crash, they were kind of like, how they edged older folks out. They were like, oh, you're making too much money, we can pay. So it's like, we're gonna like push you kind of towards retirement. That happened to both my folks.
That happened to my dad too. Yeah.
But they just have hobbies, my mom cooks and knits and shit. And my dad just works on cars and they're pretty fucking sharp, like, it's tough to see anybody, like it's really tough to see your parents get old, but like, you gotta, it's good to encourage them to do things that keep them sharp,
Absolutely. Because I got this full-time job, like it's an office job or whatever. And, people say like, oh, take a job in something you're passionate about or whatever. I don't believe that. I mean, I think you should keep those things separate. Like
I agree.
I do the job and it's like, I get the money out of it. They want me to do this bullshit, whatever. Like it's partitioned completely from everything else. And it's like you said, it sucks. You gotta make time because there's not much time left, but you gotta make time outside of the work, the full time, to like have something on the side. And like for me, it was like music or this politics shit or whatever. Like you gotta have something else to remember, because you're not gonna remember the work shit. You're not gonna remember that.
Not at all. Like who the fuck gives a shit if you finish some project that like will not matter in a week? Like like that feeling of accomplishment, you're gonna forget. Like don't people say like if you do the thing you love, you won't work in your life? Like that's bullshit. If you have to work to pay your rent doing the thing you love, you're gonna hate the thing you love. Unless you're making like $300K a year to do a thing you love doing. Like if you're making like, I don't know, like 30 grand a year because you work in like, I don't know, you work at an art gallery and you're like, oh, this is what I wanted to do my whole life. It's like, it's going to make you fucking miserable.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of the, like this new like grind set culture that we have now. People try to turn their hobbies into like something that makes them money, like immediately. They're like, it's a side hustle. It's not just a hobby. It's not something I like to do. It's got to be like, how do I open this Etsy shop because now I like to like paint or, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I think that the problem with a lot of like little pearls of wisdom that are oft repeated when it comes to work life stuff is that it's usually like some kind of expression of like Stockholm syndrome from people that had to live lifestyles that they didn't
100%
otherwise would have. I think that instead of the whole like do what you love thing, that's the big thing when choosing a career or a job. I think it's more pick a job or a career field that is compatible with the lifestyle that you want to live. And that can be, for some people, I think that can be working in something that they're passionate about or that they love, but it's not limited to that. And most of the time, it's not exactly that. It's just like pick something that goes along the grain of the life that you otherwise would want to be living too. And I do know people that like do, little side hustles that, sometimes it's like, freelance job marketplace, little gig jobs that they do on the side of things. And
I think
that doing things like that, around work that is stuff that you enjoy can be all right if it's not like, your 40 fucking hour a week full-time thing, right? Like, as goofy as it might be a little bit, like, I have a D&D group that I play with, right? And it was it's been fucking wild the first like 6 months just being like, oh fuck, like this is a huge creative pursuit that I'm doing and putting a lot of work into, and like there is absolutely no monetary incentive. And it's like freeing. It's like, oh, I'm really sincerely engaging with this and genuinely enjoying this because there's no stake in it monetarily, and it's really important that way.
No, Slav, you want to hear a black pill on the D&D thing?
Let's hear it.
I don't know where I read it, but like 3 or 4 years ago, I read an article about how corporations were doing D&D as a team building exercise.
No.
Yeah. Nothing is fucking sacred to these cunts. Okay.
Yeah, but
no, dude, I know this.
That
dude,
doesn't mean you're doing it for it. Obviously. Yeah.
I've seen, because I was actually talking with a buddy the other day, and he was talking about, and no judgment here. I'm open to anything. He was talking about like, dude, like you're good at DMing. Like you could do one of these things where somebody, hires you to do it. And it's like, hey, I'll never rule anything out. And I'm looking at these sites, right, where you can, sign up, and there's a professional company that does it. And yeah, dude, I noticed they're like, $500 up front for a deposit for like corporate events. And it's like, holy shit. Oh my God. It's wild. It's something, man. Fucking corporate event team building exercises in tabletop gaming.
Get that bag.
If you can get the bag, that's where you write in literal gender goblins.
Yeah, I was about to say you write that in and like some anti-racist stuff with the different races of things that you can be. I'm assuming that's a thing in D&D. I don't really know.
Oh, the best thing about D&D is you can be as racist as you want, but it's about fantasy races.
Yeah. It's very race essentialist. Well, they're currently reworking all of their racial and moral alignment stuff so that they can be less problematic.
Because Wizards of the Coast, the company that does D&D, is owned by Hasbro. And they need to do all that shit for their stockholders. Yeah,
I mean, they're like their key demographic is like PMC, and it's that, right? The latest module that Wizards of the Coast just released is literally a pre-written campaign like adventure set in like a wizard university. And it's college campus life. It's straight up like D&D is elite overproduction in a board game, basically.
Sure, yeah.
It's horrifying. But what I just do is I just don't pay attention to any of that stuff. And I actually really, well, now maybe I'm getting into it too much, but I'll stop after this. I actually really just like reading like stuff from like earlier editions when it was just straight up just incredibly based old timers. And you just write your stuff around that. And
George R. R. Martin shit, like his generation of like fantasy. Literally,
guys. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and two, like, it's weird to think that we're older people it's weird to think that there's younger people that we can give advice to, because, I mean, we're pretty young ourselves, but, like, I think what Slav was saying, too, is just, like, find something that's tangential to what you are passionate about. Make sure you don't fucking hate your job. That's definitely important.
Yeah.
But, the whole advice that they gave everybody, especially when I was younger, was just, like, do what you fucking love or whatever. You're going to end up like some famous person doing whatever. that's a load of bullshit. Obviously, like, you know, it's not that simple. And also, like what SLAV was saying too about the money thing. Like, I remember there were like some psych studies of like, as soon as you monetize something, like a hobby you like, you know, because he's talking about like doing the D&D and it's free or whatever, and you just like it for that. Like, there's something I remember reading where it's like, as soon as you get some money from something, you automatically start liking it less. There's something psychological about it, of like tying it to money, like makes it less fun just off the bat.
Hey man, so, I mean, you're telling me I fucking hate recording these conversations.
All right. No, but the thing is, I think in that psychological shit, they always are like, well, if you got paid like minimum wage to do the thing you love, if you got paid like $600,000 a year to play D&D, yeah, you would not hate D. You would look forward to playing D&D every second of every day.
For sure.
Yeah, you don't want it to be like high stakes on it, and then you not actually be able to come up with the things you need, like by doing that thing. That's really what turns it bad.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like with like any creative stuff, like video stuff or anything. Like, I can sit down and like start editing some, you know, video just for some random passing shit post idea that I came up with, and like my brain's lighten up and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. The second like someone has hired me to like put together a product for them that they like have money on the line for and that there's expectations for, my brain is just like in the mode of just like, how can I put off doing this? I just want to finish this. This is horrible. And like, it kind of defies reasoning. Definitely. It's just there's a part of my brain, and yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe if I was making $1 million at that fucking job, then it would be different, but there is some weird irrational part of my brain that's just like, this is homework now, I don't like it.
No,
like,
I think that's
my dog
right.
ate it.
I don't think creativity is a rational thing at all. And so I think when you put it into that, like that scope where it's like, oh, now I have a deadline, or now I have an expectation, or I was requested to be creative, you can't like tap it that way. I don't think. I think that creativity flows from like a singular source. And I think that it moves through people and people's minds and through their actions in ways that you can't really just call upon immediately. Like, I think it's like, you kind of have to be inspired to move through and make an actually good creative product. And I don't think that it works like just being, oh, I'm going to call upon this now and just do something creative. I think you have to kind of be in the headspace to be there and then just kind of wait for it to come.
It's about knowing your tools, knowing your skills well enough that you can enter flow state at will. Right? Where you can, like, whatever you're doing, whether you're making a meme video, like whether you're like, I saw that, like, I'm not a big Beatles fan, but I saw that video of, was it George Harrison or Paul McCartney in that Beatles documentary where like he's got nothing, he's strumming the guitar or whatever, and then 2 minutes later he has a hit song. And it's like, regardless of how you feel about the Beatles, like that is the perfect example of like, I mean, they were getting fucking the equivalent of millions of dollars at the time, and all the drugs and weird pussy that they could possibly want, you know, but like the second that it's like, oh, I have to like recreate that spontaneous creativity for a paycheck because I have to pay fucking rent. Yeah. That makes it almost impossible.
Yeah, I think like creativity comes almost from like a communication with the divine or something like that. And so I almost kind of liken it back to like the Moses parable where he's striking the rock to try to get water out of the stone. And usually God blesses him and he can do it through God. He can get the water out of the stone. But then he tries without God's blessing or without consulting him, and he doesn't get water out of the stone. It's essentially that kind of story. And I think it's the same kind of thing with creativity.
Well, I will say, like, I think that's where, like, to add maybe like a little bit of nuance, which is like, I think, you know, if you're sitting down to write, you know, like a blockbuster, like a piece of entertainment, like art that's explicitly for entertainment as a product and everything, that's where, you know, it's a little bit more like almost like a trade craft where it's like, you know, we're doing the 3 acts, right? We're writing archetypes, we're doing familiar story structures, and then there's little pockets here and there where there's some creative expression and flourishes, but they're kind of minimized. And I think that there's something to that, but it's like a lot different, right? I always think of like John Carpenter's approach in something that he kind of talked about a lot, where he's like, I'm not like some big, hoity-toity like artist. Like I'm like a laborer, you know what I mean? Like I do an honest job with my hands. And I think that there's something to that too, and that's something that I like a lot. Like everybody, a lot of the time, everybody loves like, oh man, the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie. And like, oh, I like this new movie that's all, Terrence Malick. It's all told out of order and all that. And it's like, there's also something to be said for the guy that just like, pumps out a number of scripts in a year that are just 3-act structures. The dad is estranged from his family for Christmas. Like that also fucking rules. And it's a different kind of creativity.
I like how in Jingle All the Way, Arnold is it's implied that his hobby or whatever, his thing that he does is bodybuilding. Like there's like one offhand line. I think it's Phil Hartman.
Ted,
that it's like
says, you can't bench press your way out of this.
Yeah, like that's the one reference to that. It's not addressed at all, but it's just implied that that's his thing. So it's like, yeah, he probably didn't grow up dreaming of working at the fucking mattress factory, but he's able to support his wife and kid on that and pursue his dream of being the most shredded mattress salesman in the country. Like, I think he's got a good thing going.
Absolutely.
Do you want to move into Die Hard after this?
Yeah, I do. There's one last thing I want to say about
No. Collect your thoughts, thing. Man.
No, and yeah, I mean, it's you guys basically said it all, but like, yeah, the getting paid, I think it's because you said like, yeah, if you're getting $1 million, like we podcast. So if somebody paid me $1 million every day to podcast, I would love that. And I'm grateful to everybody that pays for this show. I wanted to say that for sure. I totally am. I don't want to sound like I'm not. But yeah, I think the point where if you're getting paid and you're like, all right, I need to do this creative thing because I need to pay my bills, and there's that added pressure on it. That's where it starts to, like, I think COH was saying that. Yeah, that's where it starts to get whacked. But like, if it's just like, all right, I don't have to worry about any of that, and I'm just, rich off this. Yeah, of course. But how often does that happen? You have
to be a white chick talking about crime.
It makes me think of that fucking it's one hit wonder, but that band that did Cherry Pie.
Oh yeah,
she's my cherry pie, right? Like they had that album. I played in a band with a guy years ago who swore by that fucking album, and I listened to it a lot, like several times, and like it's a good fucking record, right?
I'm gonna put on my queue.
It is so completely different from Cherry Pie. Like that single is totally incongruent because the label was like, you gotta fucking write this shit, at the last minute because we need a single to sell this fucking record. And he wrote it like in one night, and then it becomes this fucking curse that just defines his entire career past that point.
Wasn't that one of the songs on what was it? Blink-182. One of their like biggest songs was just they needed another song, so they like banged it out with like the most boring cliche bullshit, and it's like it ended up being one of their most popular songs.
Oh man, like All the Small Things or something like that.
I think it was like Rock Show. I don't know.
That reminds me of there's this movie called Frank. It's about a band, and like one of the dudes wears this big paper mache head on his head when they perform. Yeah,
like it's Frank Longbottom or what the British character.
Yeah,
the head thing is an old thing.
Okay, well, I don't really know what the backing is on it, but essentially it's like this indie movie where it's like this band and they're struggling to make good albums and stuff like that, and they have like this really obscure and like esoteric creative process, and then all of a sudden they kind of get into this existential crisis of like not being able to play because bad stuff keeps happening. So they try to make a popular song, and there's like a scene where they walk in, and this Frank guy, who's like the main leader and creative mind of the band, is like playing the worst music ever. And they're like, "What is this?" He's like, "Well, this is our most popular song." It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, imagine like 10 years later, you're touring and like you still just play that one song.
Yeah, you end up
horrible.
A
like
lot of
Devo
famous artists. Yeah, they get Well, it's just like being typecast or just like pigeonholed, like Nas with Omatic or whatever. Like you just pigeonholed to that thing everybody knows you for. It's like, all right, do that thing, do the thing, do the thing we know you for. You're just kind of stuck like that.
Yeah, if you're an artist who can like transcend that shit, like you've got it made.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess that's why all the crazy like ones that have like decade-long runs, they kind of reinvent themselves over and over.
That's why I'm a Kanye maximalist, dude. He's been able to over and over reinvent himself. Like there is not just one thing he's known for. Like he didn't fall back on some creative shit he did and just like ride that shit out, Like
that's true. I mean, I don't like Kanye, but like I mean, who can deny that his run is noteworthy. No one can deny that. I mean, he's fucking, the show he just did with Drake or whatever is fucking massive. It's like, he's that's not an easy thing to do, even if you're trying to do it in a cheap way. Like he's like still. But the thing I was gonna ask about was like this Sinbad thing, right? So the thing, like the Mandela effect thing of like everybody has a collective memory of him as a genie.
Oh yeah,
in some genie movie. Does that make like I've never talked to anybody about it really, but do you guys? Is that like? Do you have that memory in your head, or no?
Honestly, I think it's another thing where it's the Ben Carson, Herman Cain thing. It's just a different black guy was in a movie about a genie, and like everybody's just racist.
Maybe. I think it's probably that, but like. Yeah, I don't know. I remember specifically him. He's kind of distinct, though. He's kind of a distinct guy.
I think it's a combination of Sinbad existing and then also that cartoon movie that was like a Disney film that's called Sinbad. And there's a dude that's dressed kind of like Aladdin.
This is exactly what I was just about to say. Is like as you're saying that, I'm Googling it. Okay, right. The Sinbad. I think this is DreamWorks. It looks like DreamWorks, right? It's that kind of Treasure Island looking aesthetic, even though that was Disney. But
like Sands of Time type looking Persian shit.
Yeah,
I think this is like the fucking hive mind overlap thing right here going on, which it's DreamWorks. Okay, I'm great. You got Sinbad the comedian, and then you got Sinbad the animated film, which then sort of looks enough like Aladdin. And I think that's it. I think that's what it is.
It's like media and consumption content overload where it just wires are just getting crossed. And then someone says like, yo, you remember like a Genie Sinbad movie? And you're trying to like rifle through everything. And you're like, fuck, sure. Yeah, I kind of remember that. And then it just kind of gets passed on that way.
Well, do you guys have that, Slav? Do you have that like vague memory of him?
I totally do. I totally do.
You do?
I do. I thought. Well, that's the thing, and that's why I made the connection because it's like I think of Sinbad, I think of a genie, right? Yeah. Which I'll say also I think is the other part of this that I think is causing the overlap is the film Kazam starring Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, bro,
absolutely.
I think that's what's happening. And then whenever I think of the Sinbad movie, which I had a Happy Meal toy of when I was a child, I keep thinking that Sinbad is in the movie. Also, IMDb, no, it's Brad Pitt as Sinbad, but you see, there's so much overlap here.
That explains a lot. I
think that's what it is. I think it's Sinbad, and Kazam starring Shaquille O'Neal, which I also mix up with Shazam, the DC Comics character. But that's a whole other.
That was one of the like lower budget movies that came out in the past couple of years, right?
Yeah, which wasn't terrible. I mean. All right, that was part 1 of our episode. If you'd like to listen to part 2, you can find that at patreon.com/fedpost. Thanks for listening.